Oh,
That was, I don't know why that happened. All right, we're being recorded.
did everyone hear that? Well, everyone, welcome to our meeting for June. We are excited to have with us Chief Steve Cooper and Officer Benson's here, and Mayor Mary McClellan. Um, Jamie is here as well, Jamie Horowitz, and a lot of other people. Charlie snuck in. Regina's here. Usual cast of characters. Um, So we thought we would focus on public safety and questions regarding public safety this month, just because it seems like a minute since we've had an update, and I think we have just about anybody who we would need to answer any questions here today, or at least who can tell us where we need to go if they can't do it. Um, I Sam prepared a list of questions. Did we sent those out email to everybody, or was it just?
Yes, everybody got them.
I have them here. Which I guess we can kind of work through this. In general, like, can we? Let's just say, how are things in Oak Park? Tell us on the public safety aspect. What's going on? Quick overview.
Hi. Do you guys want me to chime in now, or do you want me to wait?
Yeah, please.
Oh, okay. First of all, thank you for, like I said, inviting me and having me back. It's been such a long time since we've met in person. Obviously, I've had an opportunity to meet with you guys on Zoom, but it's nothing like that face-to-face contact in person. So as we move more towards some normalcy, hopefully we'll be back in-person meetings soon. I received the list as well, and I'm prepared if you want me to just kind of move through them, and if you want to jump in and ask a question as it relates to a question that's already on the sheet, or want some clarification, I'll be more than happy to do that and kind of see how it goes. Does that sound okay to everyone?
Sure. And if anyone has questions, again, the chat bar is open, or unmute yourself and ask your question.
Great.
Good to me.
All right, sounds good. The first question, it was related to crime reports for East Oak Park. It says, what's going on? What are the crime trends? Are they up? Are they down? So I had an opportunity to look at our crime trends from January through today's through April. Overall, our crime is down. It's actually just under 20%. We're right at about 19.84% with a reduction in crime. So that's always great news. And also had an opportunity to have our records supervisor kind of prepare a little play-by-play as far as what's actually going on in your particular area from January actually up until today's date, June 3rd here. So far, you guys you're faring very well. We had one attempt of a home invasion, and that was in the 8700 block of Oak Park Boulevard. The home is a vacant home, and there was some damage to the lockbox where the actual key is stored. There was actually no entry made at that residence. And then there's one other one that we had at the 24,000 block of Rensselaer. There was some damage around the locking and the door mechanism, but again, there was no damage. Sorry, there was no entry gain into the home. So we're happy about that. We've had 6 larceny from autos, what we call LFAs. 3 of those consisted of wheels and tires being taken from vehicles. One was in a 24,000 block of Rensselaer. The other was in a 24,000 block of Scotia. And then the third one was in a 24,000 block of Rensselaer as well. The 3 remaining larceny from vehicles that we had, all of them were unlocked vehicles. And that's one of the things I know we kind of preach regularly as far as locking your doors, locking making sure that the windows are up. And it was miscellaneous items that were actually taken from the vehicles. And we've had since January 4, what we call stolen vehicles, UTAs. And those were 3, unfortunately, were in a 24,000 block of Rensselaer, right there in the town, little townhomes. And then we had one in a 24,000 block of Rosewood. But like I said, for a 6-month period, really that's not bad. And, we kind of keep preaching the same things as far as making sure that you lock the doors to your cars and your vehicles and make yourself less of a risk or a target. And we'll continue to kind of pound that home, and hopefully we'll get more and more people following that advice, and we can continue to see a reduction. But like I said, overall, we're happy to this point from January through April. We have an overall reduction in our crime by just about 20%. The second question on the list was, will the ice cream truck be back this year? And the answer to that question is absolutely yes. Devin Benson and our new community resource officer, Steve Arbanowski, will be able to address that in a little more detail once we get through some of the questions, and they'll be more than happy to chime in. And I think Devin is going to actually introduce Steve Arbanowski, one of our Oak Park's finest for many years. I believe Steve's been here probably for over 20 years, and I couldn't have a better person in the position. I think all of you realize or understand now that Officer Cook retired, so he's no longer with us. He's the director of security for the Oak Park School District. So he's still in Oak Park, still doing great work, and he's still a part of the family. So I'm happy to be able to continue our working relationship with him, just in a little slightly different capacity. The third question on the list that I have, it says, there's a great deal of emphasis on burglary and assault crimes. Fortunately, these are crimes that few of us are actually victims of. However, we are assaulted on a daily basis by perpetrators on both the telephone and over the internet. Other than educating folks to be wary, what's being done to address this problem, what can be done? The overwhelming majority of these crimes are committed over the internet and the telephones. And to be 100% honest with you, the majority of them are occurring overseas. Because of the jurisdictional boundaries, they're very difficult to have any type of successful prosecution. Bangladesh, some of the other countries where we're actually finding out that these actual calls, where these frauds, people are being victimized, are occurring. So the ones that are actually happening locally, that we're able to trace and develop suspects and leads and get information on, we're doing everything that we can to bring those folks to justice. So educating our residents is our number one defense. And we'll continue to do that as well. Question number 4, recently a 4-way stop sign went in at the intersection of Kenwood and Roanoke. First question with that says, how do we measure its efficacy? And we do that through our speed studies. TIA, Traffic Improvement Association, will, at our request, periodically come out and they'll do actual speed studies. They'll usually stay out. They'll put speed monitors out for usually about 7 days, about a week. And then we go back and they analyze the information and they provide us with a report that assists the Public Safety Department with determining how we're doing in that field. We also look at our traffic crashes. We run traffic enforcement, selective enforcement details on a regular basis in a lot of the neighborhoods. Especially in the summertime, we like to beat those selective enforcement details up because we know, it's warm out. You have the kids, they're running, they're playing. Got families out for, walks. So we want to make sure that we're slowing the speeders down and that people are obeying all of the traffic signals and signage. And obviously feedback from the residents. You guys give us a lot of feedback when there are problem areas. You give us very specific information a lot of times as far as what time we're experiencing particular issues, and we try and address those based on that information as well. Part B to that question says, how and over what period of time do you track the data? There's no set dates or a certain amount of time that we use to track the data. Like I said, we use the speed studies conducted by the Traffic Improvement Association. Usually those are over a period of time of a week. We evaluate that data as well as, like I said, the other things that we talked about, the selective enforcement, our traffic crashes, etc. Part C to that question says, what criteria is used to keep signs up, and what criteria do we use to take those down? Our main source that we use for our traffic studies, like I said, is the Traffic Improvement Association. They're engineering consultants that the city contracts with on a yearly basis. So we have some of the best engineers that actually come out, collect data for a period of time, and then they provide a written report with a recommendation to my office. I review the recommendation, and then I meet with the city manager, and then there's a recommendation that goes before city council, and city council makes the ultimate determination whether or not they'll accept that recommendation or reject it. We use, like I said, feedback from the residents and the traffic data as well.
It's interesting. When we were doing our planning meeting, we were talking, and we were uncertain if how much public safety played into the traffic situation, because it kind of seems like there's a lot of people involved in that, but public safety clearly is involved.
Oh yeah, no, we're the main impetus. We
Okay.
still have the will. I know and I know that question is coming up as far as the traffic, the safety advisory board. Once we get a little further down, I'll address that one as well. Question 5 said, how's the decision made to install stop/yield signs? That's based primarily on the information that I just mentioned. There's another question in there that talks about Mr. Tungate reported that he would request city council approve the sign. And it says, is that the process? Well, the process, the city manager has the authority to enact temporary traffic control orders for 90 days. And after the 90-day period, there has to be a determination made whether or not it will become a permanent order or if we'll revert back to the previous order. So the recommendation is made to city council based on the criteria mentioned. I consult with the city manager pretty intimately regarding any type of traffic signage requests. Then like I said, I come before city council with the recommendation, and they'll either approve or not approve the recommendations. I have not had one so far the city council has not approved. I try and make sure that we look at the situation very thoroughly. We do our homework and get our ducks in a row, and we've been pretty successful for the most part there. There's a question that says, are there other paths to the installation of stop/yield signs that residents can utilize? And just to be quite honest, no, that answers no. The ones that I mentioned are the paths that we have, or the vehicles that we have as far as getting the signage erected or taken down. The question here also says, we are particularly focused on Roanoke and Oak Park Boulevard. It says Roanoke is the main thoroughfare between 9 and 10 mile, and folks don't like to stop at Oak Park Boulevard. A 4-way is needed there. I can tell you that I have spoken with the Traffic Improvement Association and requested that they conduct a study at this intersection, and they informed me that they should have a recommendation in my office sometime in July. And just to kind of give you a little history, Roanoke, I know that's been really a hot spot for years. I took over as the director of public safety in 2012. And since my tenure there has not been a year that has gone by where we haven't addressed some type of issues or concerns from the residents who live on that block as it relates to traffic. And one of the most recent ones is we had, there was a request, I want to say a few years ago, for a 4-way stop at the intersection of Roanoke and Kenwood. And we had the Traffic Improvement Association come out and do a study. They made recommendations to remove the stop signs on Roanoke and make Roanoke a through street, and then put the stop signs on Kenwood. We looked at that information with the crash data, with the speeds that were coming through there. And we did a number of things as far as the traffic enforcement and the follow-up for several years. Finally, we came to the decision that a 4-way stop was appropriate to erect permanently at the intersection there of Kenwood and Roanoke. So there it sits. I haven't heard a lot of feedback, so hopefully that's helping to slow down traffic. You're not going to rid any block 100% of traffic concerns and issues, and I'm sure all of you are aware of that. But we want to do the best that we can to mediate as much as possible, so that, like I said, the safety of everyone is our utmost concern. The pocket park at Sherman, I'd had some concerns. They were saying, hey, since Sherman has the pocket park there, now some of the traffic is actually being diverted from Sherman maybe to Roanoke. One of the things that I found interesting is that if you use Google Maps on the internet and you're coming down that in the area of Roanoke, Oak Park Boulevard, somewhere in that area, the Google map will actually divert you right down Roanoke Street from 10 Mile Road, or vice versa, from 9 Mile Road up to 10 Mile Road if you're trying to get to the service drive. So that may have been a reason as well for some of the increased traffic that you've experienced in that area. I spoke with one of the neighbors who lives on it'd be the northeast corner of Oak Park Boulevard in Roanoke, about vehicles blowing horns, because I guess the issue with that intersection now is that for some reason people are mistaking that for a four-way stop, and then you've had some recent accidents in the area. We've had the Traffic Improvement Association look at that as well. And one of the things that we've done to try and assist with that is for north and southbound Roanoke traffic, underneath the stop sign, we have signage that says, cross traffic does not stop. And we're hoping that that will help, or has helped some, alleviate some of the issues. But like I said, we have a request in with the Traffic Improvement Association to address that issue in a more thorough and systematic way. So I would definitely give you more feedback once we get that information back from the Traffic Improvement Association. In the interim, we are running various, like I said, selective enforcement details continuously in that area. We put up our traffic, our radar speed trailer in that area on a consistent basis also, because we understand the issues and the concerns there. So we're doing a lot for the Roanoke and Oak Park Boulevard. One of the things that we do not want to get people in the mindset of is thinking that at every intersection that, we get complaints. We have 5.5 miles of streets in the city of Oak Park. And, everybody wants a stop sign at at every intersection. And stop signs, believe it or not, are not used to actually slow down traffic. TIA will tell you that in a lot of situations, what it will actually do is speeds will increase because people are trying to make up the distance in between signage, which, to a layman, sometimes it may not make a lot of sense. You're like, well, there's a stop sign there, you stop, they're going to slow down, but then eventually they're trying to get to the next intersection, and a lot of times traffic will speed up. So like I said, we're looking at that. We've had requests for speed bumps. We don't use speed bumps in Oak Park, and for some of the same reasons. And then, like I said, with plow trucks coming down in the winter, that's not a good issue or not a good situation. And we've had concerns or questions about, I don't know if you've seen it. It was Aaron Tobin actually had presented it, I know, to council before, where they draw almost like pictures of speed bumps, or almost like it's like a crosswalk or something, and it's supposed to slow down traffic as well. So, there's a lot of things that we've considered, but like I said, I'll reserve any other, opinions or recommendations until we hear back from the Traffic Improvement Association. But we're definitely not ignoring that area, and it gets, believe me, lion's share of our attention as it relates to those issues.
Chief,
Chief,
oh, yeah.
Chief, you've referred to it on a number of occasions. What is the Traffic Improvement Association? Could you define them for us? Because I've not heard of this entity at this point in time, and they seem to be something that you're very dependent on. Yeah, they're an engineering consultant that we use. It's a lot of the I want to say Berkeley uses them, Huntington Woods, some of the other areas around here. If you Google them, Traffic Improvement Association, you'll pull them up. They're very reputable. We've used them for years, for sure, the decades since I've been in this office. And like I said, they have teams of engineers that address various issues as it relates to problems that you may be experiencing. So that's who they are.
Peter chimed in earlier or texted and said that they're actually doing a traffic study right now.
Yeah, on Rona, but the people putting it up said they were from MDOT, and that MDOT was doing a survey of speeds and traffic flow on Roanoke. And I think you can see the double lines across the road, and there's a little computer there. And so it'll be up there for 10 days, they said. Is that the same thing?
No, MDOT is totally separate from the Traffic Improvement Association. I'm not aware of, I have not been notified. Maybe they notified the city engineer of something that they're doing as it relates to a traffic study on Roanoke in that area, but it has not come across my desk. Like I said, I specifically reached out to Mr. Keller from TIA and spoke to him personally and asked him if he would move it to the front burner for us. So, the summer is here and we would like to, get some updated information so we can move in a specific direction or come to council with a recommendation. So hopefully we'll hear back from them, like I said, sometime in July, hopefully early July.
That
Well-
intersection seems like it has to be one of the busiest or like most accidents reported at in our area, right? I mean,
Yeah.
there was that week where we had 2 accidents back to back. It was a Monday or a Tuesday, Wednesday.
Yeah, it's a very busy intersection. Oak Park Boulevard and that area is busy just in and of itself from our eastern border to pretty much to our western border. And we ran into a little stint there where we had a few accidents. But to be honest, once I actually went and pulled the data, I want to say it was less than a half dozen accidents that we've had in that particular area. I remember 2 within I want to say within maybe a week or 10 days of each other. And I think that sometimes that creates a perception too, like, wow, or maybe there's some near misses. Obviously I'm not there at night, and I know all of you live in the area, you travel the area. So we rely a great deal on what you say as well. And we value that. And I don't ever want the residents to feel that, we're telling you that this is happening, chief, and you're not listening to us, and you go on with the TIA, and they're not here at night. And believe me, there is method to the madness, and we do take those concerns seriously, and we definitely want the residents to call in and report specific issues. And as specific as you can be with the information, if you can give us like specific times of days, maybe between say like 4 and 6, or early mornings between 7 and 8, or 7 and 9, and we're experiencing these particular issues. But we're out there just sporadically, and then we concentrate in based on those specific concerns as well.
Dig is chiming in asking about
You're
camera.
welcome to join if you like.
Sig made a comment about using cameras. Do they do that at all? Would they consider using that? Is that an option?
The city of Oak Park putting up cameras. The cameras, realistically, I mean, cameras, you'll be able to, I don't think the cameras will do anything that the speed monitor will not do, because we can't use the cameras to, write somebody a ticket and then mail it to them. So if the cars are actually traveling at excess speed coming down that road, when we do our speed studies, that'll pick up the speeds of the vehicle. So they're expensive, and they really would be, in my opinion, worth the money and that useful for that particular purpose.
Regina, did you have a question?
Yeah, I just wanted to kind of respond to that too, make a statement. I know in Michigan, we don't allow mailing remote tickets for speeds. So like a radar trailer with a camera is not allowed. You're not allowed to do that in Michigan. I'm actually looking into legislation about that right now. And Director Cooper, I'd love to talk with you a little bit offline about that and get your thoughts. If that's something that, if it was allowed in Michigan, if that's something that you think would be useful for Oak Park.
Definitely, we can talk offline at your convenience there, Representative Weiss. If nobody has any other questions with that one, I'll go to the next one, but I'm sorry, go ahead.
Officer Benson, you had to.
Yeah, excuse me. Just to piggyback on that, just to let you know what the chief was saying, we actually have 2 trailers out there. We have the white smaller trailer, and I know you all have seen the blue trailer out there. We have the newest trailer with the strobe lights on it, but also with that trailer, a lot of times when we put it out, I'm able to pick up data off that trailer. And what people don't know, when you're heading toward the trailer, it's picking up your speed. It also pick up your speed once you pass the trailer. So, and also, if you notice, we've been keeping the trailers out there 24 hours. Instead of bringing them in, we having them out there, and I'm getting a lot of good feedback with that.
Great.
So it'll give me like a trend of when most of the speeding is taking place, what time is taking place, how many cars come down the street. So a lot of times we do analyze that also.
Sylvia, you raised your hand. Did you have a question? Unmute yourself.
Yes, I would, I live on Rosewood, and Rosewood is just such a horrible street, day in and day out, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning. Why can't we have more of a police presence day and night on Rosewood and Roanoke? Just to deter these people that go down the street at least 50 miles an hour.
Yeah, Rosewood is one of the busier streets as well, and we do spend time as far as traffic and selective enforcement details. Like I said earlier, one of the issues is that we only have so much manpower. We got 6 miles of city streets, and you'd be surprised, every block almost, everybody's complaining about the same issue. You go up throughout the country, the number one complaint is speeding motorists. So you only have so many officers, you only have so much time to actually devote your attention to that. Like I said, we do police, we do fire, we do medical first responder, EMS runs. So our duties are split up amongst a multitude of things. So we try and spread ourselves out as best we can and provide as much coverage as we can for the various streets. But I got it. I understand that you'd like to probably have one on there, daily. Unfortunately, our manpower and just won't allow for that.
Okay.
I'll go to the next question then.
Great. Yeah, it was six.
Number 6, it says at present city council has appointed a traffic safety board. It says, is there a timeline for the recommendation to be submitted? And the answer to that is no. And it says, if so, what is the timeline? What is public safety? It says, why is public safety offloading this work to citizens committee? And just want to respond to that. The traffic safety board is advisory in nature, and they don't have the power to enact or change any traffic control orders or ordinances. They can only make recommendations to city council. Public safety is actually not offloading any of our responsibilities. The board is made up of 7 members from the city staff. We have my deputy director, Mike Pinkerton, who sits on that board, along with the director of our technical and planning and code enforcement department, Rob Barrett. Council member Sean Whitehead sits on there, along with 4 of our residents from Oak Park. And the board is actually something that the residents have been asking for, so they can have more input and a voice as it relates to the various traffic matters. Next
We have
question.
that survey too, right? Which is an ongoing thing, which I think people can still reply to whenever, right? I don't think there's an end date
Absolutely.
to that.
Absolutely.
So if you haven't taken that, go to the website and try to find it and take it.
Right. The second part of that question says, we're often told by Officer Benson to lock our cars and turn on our porch lights, barricading ourselves in is one aspect of crime prevention. It says law enforcement finds itself addressing issues downstream of their sources. In order to decrease efficacy, there's a need to address the problems upstream. It says, how does public safety address the social needs that often lead to crime? So let me start unpacking that. Educating our residents is one of our most effective ways to address and decrease our crime. I know Officer Benson is constantly speaking to the various block clubs about lessening your risk of becoming a victim. And the majority of the suggestions that you received are pretty common sense suggestions, such as, like you said, locking your doors to your cars and to your homes, not leaving your windows unsecure, trimming bushes away from and around windows to prevent hiding places for suspects, turning on porch lights and garage lights, etc. And the reason, like I said, we tell you these things is because they actually work. A decent number of our residents, though, aren't taking our advice. As I mentioned with the larceny from autos, we had 6 in your neighborhood, 3, where wheels taken from vehicles, but then we had 3 where they were actually going inside the vehicles. And guess what? All 3 of those vehicles were unlocked. So, we'll keep, repeating the message as far as, locking the doors and doing what we have to do. And hopefully, this will lead to, some change in the behavior, which will, believe it or not, I'm telling you, it'll lead to the crime rates continuing to decrease in the city of Oak Park. Another part of the question talks about addressing social needs. I know we spend an enormous amount of time in our school educating the children on making good decisions and the consequences of bad decisions. We've established relationships through the youth with various school programs. on mentorships. We educate and invest a tremendous amount of time in our youth at an early age. And in doing so, we 100% believe, and it's been proven, that this helps to prevent crime. And it helps to keep our youngsters, focused and keep them away from a life of crime. Also, we're intimately involved with the Tri-Community Coalition. I'm sure many of you are familiar with that. Oak Park, Huntington Woods, and Berkeley are co-partners in the Tri-Community Coalition. For those of you who may not be aware of the Tri-Community Coalition, their mission is, to prevent the abuse of alcohol, tobacco, and other harmful drugs through education. I actually sit on the advisory board for the Tri-Community Coalition. One of the things that you probably haven't heard of is 2 weeks ago, we kicked off our second partnership in an effort to assist with substance use disorder. One of the programs is called FAN, and that stands for Families Against Narcotics. And the other one is called Hope Not Handcuffs. Hope Not Handcuffs, we have been partnered with them for several months now. And actually how that program works is very quickly, if someone comes into our police station and they say, hey, I have a substance use disorder and I need some assistance, can you help me? We have an information packet. We have a mentor that we can reach out and contact immediately while that person is in our lobby, and they can be there within 20 minutes to offer the assistance and hopefully place them in some type of treatment resource program that can assist them to getting back to a life of normalcy. Now, the Families Against Narcotics, that it's a little more of a gentle approach, where when our officers are actually out on the scenes, where an overdose has occurred or is suspected to have occurred, or it may be a family trouble where there's actually alcohol or some other type of substance that's being used. Our officers will leave a card at the residence, kind of basically saying, hey, we were here. Obviously, we noticed that you had a situation that may need, some additional professional help and follow-up. And then our team actually comes back. It's made up of an officer in plain clothes, a peer coach, and a family peer coach. We'll come back as a team. Usually we try and get back hopefully within a week. We just kicked that off a couple of weeks ago, and today we were out in the field and we had 7 visits that we made to various homes where we come and introduce ourselves in a non-threatening manner, and obviously with the soft clothes that kind of breaks down the barrier. A lot of times you have people who will not be as willing to come to the police station to seek help, and so that's when, like I said, we're going out to them and actually encouraging them to listen to us and hopefully guide them to the resources that they need. So those are, like I said, just 2 great programs that are fairly new with the Public Safety Department. We're intimately involved with the Veterans Court through the 45th District Court here in Oak Park, as well as our mental health court with the 45th District. And that's just, some of the initiatives that we're engaged in and addressing some of the social needs here in society. So I don't know if anybody had any questions or any follow-up on that.
Charlie has his hand raised. Charlie? Yeah. Good.
Yeah, hi. Can you all hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. Director Cooper, I've been talking with folks around the county about this SAMHSA program and what you were listing off all the great things that Oak Park Public Safety is working on. There's this new initiative, SAMHSA, which is a federal program, federally funded initiative, like a federal department, has given a community in Oakland County, White Lake Township Police, money to help with mental health diversion and de-escalation. And it's an innovative new program, and it's like a wraparound service, and it's free. Have you either heard about this sort of thing? And if not, can I bend your ear a little bit offline and maybe send you an email or introduce you to the folks that are running it?
No, absolutely. I'm not aware of it, but if you want to shoot me an email or give me a call offline, I'd love to hear more about it. And free is always a great thing. And if it's something
I hear that
we can reasonably do, I'll be more than happy to like I said, listen and hear more about it. So for sure, please, at your convenience, just give me a call on my office line or hit me with an email, and I'll definitely get with you.
Awesome. Great. Thank you.
All righty, just a few more questions here that I have from your block club here. It says, how does the Michigan Association of Chiefs of Police address them on a statewide basis, and how do you support these efforts? The Michigan Association of Chiefs of Police, the acronym is MACP. It's a statewide organization in which they seek your membership individually, not collectively as an organization. They usually sponsor conferences twice yearly. They have educational sessions regarding various topics and best practices. They also have, courses that they sponsor and promote throughout the year. Members of our department often attend the training, the ones that I feel are useful, or most useful and beneficial. I am a member of the Michigan Association of Chiefs of Police, and I've been so for over a decade. I attend the conferences twice yearly. I evaluate that information like I would any other training or conferences or seminars that I attend, and then I utilize the best practices for Oak Park. I'm also a member of the IACP, which is the International Association of Chiefs of Police, and I attend that conference yearly as well and apply the same principles to the IACP. I also sit on the executive board for the Southeastern Michigan Association of Chiefs of Police, which kind of parallels IACP and MACP in a lot of areas. Question number 8 says, law enforcement is an ever-evolving field. At present, ours is called public safety as opposed to police department. The concepts of eliminating bail for the poor, decriminalizing substance abuse, the harm and expense of incarceration, the value of counseling and early intervention are rising in acceptance. It says, what are your thoughts on these concepts as it regards public safety, and which do you promote locally and how? So personally, I believe in some of the initiatives as it relates to bail reform. I also believe in diversion programs for those who struggle with substance use disorders and other issues such as mental health. Mental health is one that is consuming a lot of, or should be consuming a lot of resources. And one of the, just to be honest with you, a lot of issues that we deal with have a mental health nexus. One of the issues is that you have a lot of people out here that suffer from various forms of mental health issues that's either not diagnosed, people are not medicated. There's no funding for inpatient or outpatient programs, and it creates challenges for law enforcement. A lot of times we run into issues where there's safety issues, and for lack of a better word, it's dumped at the feet of law enforcement, and they expect us to deal with it on a multitude of levels. Like I said, my officers, we do some, I don't say a lot, we do a decent amount of training as it relates to mental health. But when you're dealing with someone with a mental health and they're in a crisis, unfortunately, a lot of times they can be violent, and you have to, unfortunately, use force to either subdue them, take them into custody, to get them the treatment. And you have to realize as well, when we get the call about somebody who's suffering from maybe a mental health issue, and family members aren't able to deal with them rationally and reasonably, they contact law enforcement. And there's no magic word, there's no handshake, there's no secrets that you have as it relates to a lot of times calming people down. And like I said, that's when law enforcement is thrust onto the scene. And at that time, it's very volatile, and you have to, you do the best you can with what you have. And unfortunately, sometimes that results in the use of force. Okay, let's see.
Jessica had a question or a comment, I think. Jessica, if you want to unmute yourself.
Sure, jump right in.
Officer Cooper, or Director Cooper, sorry. I just wanted to let you know that a couple of days ago, I was at our new Kroger store.
Yes.
And there was a situation in there where a customer got very unruly, and I suspected he was either on drugs or had a mental health issue. And the security officer couldn't get him calmed down, and 2 of your officers came in. They conducted themselves with such decorum and such professionalism in a situation that could have been pretty ugly, since a lot of people were standing around filming it. And I just wanted to commend them and your department. That really warmed my heart to see that, because it could have been ugly.
Thank you. And it warms my heart to hear that as well. Like you said, we hope that that's how the interactions turn out. 100 times out of 100, sometimes we aren't so lucky, but I am very happy to hear that. And thank you for sharing that. And I will share that with our staff, and we'll continue to do, like I said, the absolute best that we can in the most non-intrusive and compassionate way possible. So thank you so much for that, sharing that.
You're welcome. They've always conducted themselves in good decorum in bad situations that I've seen them in. We have a great police force, and thank you.
God bless you. Thank you. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Sam, you have your hand raised. Did you have a question? Or you're muted.
Chief, what would help you solve this problem, and how do you get there?
As far as mental health, I mean, I think
Yeah.
there has to be more programs either at both the federal and the state level. Like I said, treatment, inpatient as well as outpatient. Training, we train, there's only so much training that we can do, but it's a bigger problem than law enforcement is prepared and can actually deal with, and it continues to grow. So I think, a lot of times I understand there's only so much money to go around, and when programs have to be cut, unfortunately, you see a lot of programs that, as it relates to mental health and some of these other programs that don't survive, and it just creates, a lot of secondary issues for public safety, for the communities, and in general. Like I said, and my heart bleeds for those who suffer from various forms of mental health illness. They need treatment. They don't need to be incarcerated. They need help. We want to get them back to being productive members of society and having positive contact with our department. And, we'll do everything that we can at our level. But quite honestly, it's going to take funding to get a lot of these programs going again.
If I could just add, to save money, they closed all these mental health facilities. You might remember when Lafayette Clinic was closed, just off the expressway. They closed it to save money. And what's happening is we're spending double the money dealing with these people in jail where they're not getting treatment. It's so ineffective. It's time state government, federal government woke up. And I know Representative Weiss is in there fighting for us. Thank you.
Very well said, Mayor. One of the second, I think the last part of that question was the support. What is, how does the public safety department support, or do we support, these initiatives? And absolutely, we support and we promote this through the many programs that I've spoken of earlier. We support this each and every day through the work that the men and the women of this department are committed to doing. And we had just an outstanding example that, like I said, really warms my heart to hear that. Again, 2 weeks ago, I had a press conference in our council chambers, kicking off our initiative with the Families Against Narcotics. And like I said, with hope, not handcuffs as well. And we'll continue to look for opportunities where we can, impact positive change and be a part of this. We wear a lot of hats in the public safety department, and like I said, we're responsible for police, fire, EMS, and then you got social work duties that you do. It's endless as far as the responsibilities and the commitment that we have to the community. But like I said, we'll continue to do whatever we can to support the community, to make it a safe place for our residents to play, to work, for leisure. I don't want you guys to worry about funding or manpower or any of those issues. That's my responsibility. I want you to go to sleep at night, resting assured that we're on the job and that we're providing the best services that you've been accustomed to. And come rain or snow or sleet, we'll get it done. So
Sam, did you have another question?
I had a question.
Oh, here.
And actually, you probably have already answered it by saying we have funding issues. But are there thoughts, or have there been programs that are like bridge programs that link social work people with police in order for them to somehow work together in certain situations where that kind of expertise would be really helpful, so that you don't have to wear as many hats?
right, you're hearing a lot of talk at the federal level as well as the state levels about these type of programs. The one that I talked about, FAM, I mean, you can take that as an example. You have people, maybe technically they're not considered social workers, but the work that they're actually doing in conjunction with the public safety department, I would say that would definitely qualify or fit under that umbrella. There are different models and different ideas that people are talking about as far as, having social workers responding to various types of runs as opposed to law enforcement. I think you got to be very careful with that. That can be extremely dangerous. You cannot have social workers, unarmed, out trying to be, do the work of law enforcement. There's some talks about, maybe depending on what the nature of the incident is, social workers and law enforcement responding together. I think you may be able to do that at a later point, but like on the initial response, I think that you really have to be careful with that. Just because of the nature of what you're dealing with, and a lot of times of what you never know what you're walking into. So it'll take more conversations. I'm open to all ideas. I don't think there's a bad idea. It's just sitting down and trying to come up and find out what actually works and what's feasible and what's reasonable. So great question, and yes, we'll have to continue to work towards that end.
Crystal, did you have a question? Your hand is raised, or a comment? Yes, no, maybe. Crystal?
One more. I only have one more question here, and then I'm sure you guys are probably tired of hearing me ramble here, but I'll answer whatever questions, or like I said, Officer Benson, if you have questions for him, you can chime in with Steve Arbanowski. The last one just says, laws are created by legislature, and it's up to public safety departments to enforce. How can public safety departments influence and guide legislators in this process? It's pretty simple. We can make our voices known and heard through making direct contact with our senators, our state representatives, and expressing our views and opinions. And it says, what is the Michigan Association of Police doing? And they're doing the same. Like I said, I sit on the board for the Southeast Michigan Chiefs, and we're constantly sending letters to our state reps and our senators, expressing our views and opinions, and we want a seat at the table to talk through some of these, delicate issues. It says, what do you think needs to be addressed at the legislative level? You can probably pick any one of a number of issues that we've discussed here earlier, but I will make a comment. Some of the talk or the rhetoric that you hear about defunding the police and elimination of qualified immunity, in my opinion, I think those are terrible ideas. And we're already in a crisis as it relates to law enforcement. Some of it due to our own missteps, and some of it not so much. But I think once you start to pluck away at the funding, I think we need to throw more funding at the police as opposed to less. And once you start plucking away at the qualified immunity, I think you're going to see definitely a change in the quality and the services of policing. As you know, it's going to take a totally different, I think, appearance. I think you'll see a lot of people abandoning the profession. We are having a tremendously difficult time coming up with qualified applicant pools because the profession is not popular, and simply people are just not interested in in this aspect of public service. It's a very noble, it's a very honorable profession. I have been doing it for 31 years. Couldn't imagine, a more rewarding profession. But with the times, it's becoming, extremely challenging. And if any of you are aware of recruits or potential recruits or candidates that are interested, please, send them my way. I love to have the conversations. And if you want change, then, I'm challenging, everyone on the sound of my voice, be a part of that change. Step up, send me, applicants, send me potential, officers who would be willing to, join the profession.
There were a couple questions earlier in the chat. Sig had mentioned something about seeing recent graffiti on 10 in the service drive. Should that be reported to the Oak Park Police first, or as it might be gang related, or just Oak Park maintenance?
Graffiti, we want to, that should come to the public safety department. We would actually like to come out and kind of examine the graffiti. A lot of times we'll photograph it. We'll send the cases into our investigation bureau, and we will do our analysis to see if there's any gang nexus. So yeah, definitely contact public safety, and then we will contact the proper department to have that cleaned up or removed.
There was another question about are there plans for body cameras on the officers? Anything?
Absolutely. The plan is we're trying to get some federal funding to help offset the cost for those body cams. I had proposed that in my capital outlay expenses for the 3-year budget that went before City Council. If we're unsuccessful in securing funding at the federal level, then the next fiscal year, 21, actually 2022, that has been incorporated into the budget. I think the body cameras are a necessity. People want the transparency. We want them. And to be honest with you, my officers are actually asking for the cameras. They want them just as much as the public would like to see, the department outfitted with the cameras. So yes, they're definitely something that's in the works, and they're on the way.
Great. Traffic surveys posted. Regina and Charlie both talking about community coalition. Good things, good things. Okay. We're good to open up questions, or Officer Benson, did you want to introduce us to your
can you hear me?
colleague?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, hello. Hello to everyone. I know I haven't seen a lot of you all in person, but just to let you know, I do ride through your neighborhood. I see you all exercising over at the school in the parking lot. I also saw Lindsay the other day and another young lady. Like I always say, giving kudos out to her. I've seen her out there putting flowers, cleaning up the boulevard. So I'm in your area quite often. You might see me ride up and down your area. And I know it was some questions about the ice cream truck. So the ice cream truck will be out this summer. Myself and my partner, Steve Arbanowski, have got that truck up and running with the maintenance, filled it up with some ice cream. We're going to do a few things a little different. I know you all see us coming up and down the street, and but a lot of people was missing us when we were coming up and down the street. So we're probably going to utilize some of the pocket parks, and we'll have that out ahead of time where we can utilize some of that and have the truck sitting up there. Also, we'll be in Shepherd Park where you can come up, and we'll be stationary, so you won't have to chase us around. And last year, we also used the parking lot in front of Davidson, Coney Island, where it used to be, where you could just ride up, get an ice cream, say hello, and use it like a drive-through. So that's some of the things we will be doing with the ice cream truck this year. Just right here is Steve Arbanowski. He's my new partner. Steve's been with the department for several years, and I'm gonna let him introduce himself to you all.
Officer Steve Arbanowski. I've been with Oak Park for 21 years. I was on the patrol where I worked a day shift. I've been involved in the Detective Bureau, Evidence Tech program, FTO program, accident reconstruction, and now I'm with the community relations. Like I said, I'm Devin's partner. If you guys have any issues or anything, I can give you my contact information. My number is 248-691-7509, or my email is SARBENOWSKE@oakparkmichigan.gov. So if anybody has any issues, feel free to give me a call.
Also, I know the meeting is, we're going over a little bit, just to let you know that you've been seeing a lot of things with kids getting a hold of their parents' gun, friend gun. So just to let you know, we do have gun locks at Oak Park Station. If you like one, you can reach out to us, or we also always have a few up at the, that's where our dispatchers are. And our vacation checks, just to let you know, they're online now. So you can go online, fill your vacation checks out, and it's that time of year, and we see everything is open where we could come around and check on your property while you're out of town. Any other questions for me? Feel free to ask.
Hey, Officer Benson,
Yes.
can you congratulate Lindsay on her tremendous job at taking care of those areas? She does it all for free.
Yep, she does, and I know Lindsay. I always put her on the spot. You all know Lindsay is my go-to person with the citywide Block Club picnic. I'm just being honest with you. The first couple of years without her, I don't know how I would have made this a success. So I know Lindsay is quiet and she doesn't like to be out in front, but I didn't even stop when I saw her because I knew, but I did see you all out there working, getting it together, and she does it year in and year out. So Lindsay, congratulations.
Thank you. We also live on Roanoke, and we see all those accidents. There's all this car litter, car auto parts stores. What I joke about those corners, you can find any part you want. It's just a plastic minefield.
So what I can say about Roanoke, I came in and worked overtime maybe a couple of weeks ago, and I did sit up there and I did run traffic. And I mean, like I was there, like the chief was saying, I didn't even know about it, but if you Google it, it does take you down Roanoke, because I couldn't figure out why all these cars was coming up and down the street, but it does. Well, what I can say, we do run traffic. And the trailer that we use is on Roanoke quite often, Rosewood quite often. So we are putting them out there, and we're out there trying to help also. So
yeah,
like
I noticed 6 a.m., 6:15, 6:20, Roanoke. We got you. Thank you so much.
We are out there and to be honest, I'm starting to know some of the neighbors up around Kenwood, different places, because I got to give it to you all. You do come out when we send the trailer out. You do talk to us. You do thank us. So I really appreciate that.
Hey, we'll do anything to help you. We can.
Okay. Thank you.
Bless you.
Thank you all.
Leslie, did you have a question? Leslie, are you muted?
She's muted.
Yeah. Maybe. No?
Okay.
There you are.
Yeah, I just wanted to know when we're gonna have coffee with cops again.
Yeah, that's one of the things we want to get going. Like I said, I know we're moving kind of back towards some more normalcy, and once the restaurants kind of get open and get their capacity back up, we're definitely looking for that. Ken Sherman is one who has been asking about the coffee with a cop, and I miss you guys, and we definitely, as soon as we can, we'll get that going. I don't have a specific date for you. I'll get with Devin and Steve, but we haven't forgotten about you, and I look forward to those personally.
I'm looking forward to it too.
Crystal, did you have a question?
I do.
Great.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for this great meeting. I am actually knocking doors on Rosewood and speaking with the neighbors, and I heard the director mention
tell them to come to our meeting.
yeah. Well, that's what they're talking about. They're talking about the speed now here on Rosewood, and that tracker that you were talking about that's on Benson just mentioned it, that they have on Roanoke, they like to see something like that over here on Rosewood as well. But, and then the mayor mentioned something about mental health facilities closed for money. I think that, yeah, I think with the time that we're in, with mental health on a rise, and has never been under control, I think putting money elsewhere, it sounds very scary. I think that we should put more money into mental health and let's help the situation. I ran in 2018 to reopen mental health facilities, and that was very dear to my heart and a lot of residents as well of the state. That's all I want to say.
Charlie,
Thank
you
you.
had mentioned that thing. Thanks, Crystal. That that thing you want to talk to him. That was concerning mental health, or no? Are you still here? You're here.
Yeah, that's so SAMHSA is a federal agency, and they have given White Lake Township a 3-year grant. Well, they've given Common Ground, which works on mental health, and they're a subcontractor of Oakland County Mental Health, which is a department within Oakland County government. So this is to work on crisis intervention. On the front end, it's to, once a scene, like Director Cooper said, once a scene has been deemed not violent. So a lot of what, and Director Cooper, Officer Benson, everyone can attest to this, a lot of the tense calls come from, yes, mental health concerns, but also intimate partner violence, formerly known as domestic violence. So being able to interject a social worker into a police officer sanctioned safe scene. So having these crisis intervention officers come in and say, this scene is safe, let's work on de-escalating in the immediate. Then they have caseworkers that do follow-up up to 30 days directly through Common Ground about mental health services. And then also they do trainings for policing agencies that sign up with them. So those are the 3 big things. And that's what I meant when I said wraparound. And it's a funded program through a federal agency here in Oakland County. So Ferndale signed up. They just signed a letter of intent like last month. So Oak Park, I'm calling you Director Cooper tomorrow. I just looked up your number. It's on my to-do list. So I got you.
Gotcha. Thank you.
It sounds great that there's an opportunity or something that maybe where you don't have to think about the price, right? Mental
Who'd
health.
have thunk, right?
Yeah, right. The one question that I kind of had, in light of like this past year, right, we've seen so much happen with social justice and whatnot. Has anything really changed Oak Park wise? I mean, I've never had an issue with public safety. I'm not saying anybody like. I think our public safety is great, but I'm like, has there been any major changes in light of the past year?
Are you talking as far as interdepartmentally?
I mean, I guess like in operations wise, like, I mean, we think about George Floyd, we think about the Breonna Taylor stuff, we think about all these huge things that happen in the country, and like, has that impacted anything that we're doing?
Actually, we have some policy changes that have been enacted. One was former President Trump had, with the DOJ, Department of Justice, had some, if you wanted to qualify for like certain federal grant funding, then you had to adopt the duty to intervene into your use of force policy, prohibition against chokeholds unless it's the last resort. And there were some other modifications to policies that they were requiring for people to be able to qualify for grant funding. And actually, to be honest with you, those changes that they were talking about were already a part of our policy. So we kind of pride ourselves in best practices. Training is a huge component as it relates to not having a lot of those particular issues. And to be honest with you, developing and building relationships with the community. You don't wait until there's a crisis or until you have an issue to go out and build relationships with the community. That should start from day one. It should be a primary purpose or one of the main reasons that you're actually doing what you do. And, I've been, like I said, been blessed to serve the residents here for many years. And as I've moved through the system, I had more of a decision making or more influence on the decision making process. So that's always been at the top of our priority as far as, mentoring the youth. And, I don't want to jinx this, but I can guarantee that's a huge reason why you won't, or you haven't seen issues in Oak Park and like you have in some of the other communities throughout the country. Not saying that something couldn't happen here, God forbid, but when they do happen, you make the adjustments, you step up and accept responsibility for any mistakes or any misactions that have happened. And I think that's how you sidestep a lot of those landmines that way.
Peter, do you have a question, or are you just moving your hand? Okay. I'm looking if anyone's raising their hands, has questions for anybody, please speak up. Type in the chat. Something else, like, it feels like there's a lot of gunshots in general, but maybe it's just people being overly excited on Facebook. And I also realize, like, if people are reporting gunshots, we can't just be like, hey, police officer, someone's shooting a gun, because what does that do? Nothing. But, like, is there anything, like, right, that's probably the correct train of thought on that, right? Like,
Yeah.
oh, I heard a gun being shot somewhere near me doesn't help you, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if you hear gunfire going off, the last thing you want to do is go to the window and start looking like, where's the shots coming from? Give us a call and
open the door, right? Yeah.
Yeah, you want to try and pinpoint it as best you can. You can, like I said, obviously get yourself where you're somewhere safe and say, hey, I live at this particular address. And if you can say, I don't know, north, east, south of me, it feels fairly close. We may ask you, well, how many did you hear? What makes you, differentiate, or what makes you think it's gunshots? And some of the information we don't want you to get offended by, but we're just trying to nail down and get a little more detailed as far as what we're responding to. But yeah, we'll respond to those.
How do you put your hand up?
Sam? Or Karen? Sam? You're muted.
There you go.
There you're.
Is there a way for us to differentiate between gunshots and fireworks?
Yeah, I wouldn't want you to try and even try and do it. Like I said, obviously, if it's fireworks, sometimes you hear pop and you hear a whistling noise that are associated with it. Like, if it's Memorial Day to 4th of July, some of the known recognized holidays, and obviously you have a lot of fireworks, but just because it's those days, we don't want you to just automatically assume. When you call, you can just report just what you hear. Hey, I heard a loud pop or banging sound. How many? If you can give us a sequence as far as the numbers or location. And if you believe it to be gunshots, then report it as such, and we'll come out. We'd rather come out and have it be fireworks, obviously, than actually be real gunshots. But yeah, like I said, with a lot of the fireworks, you hear the pop, 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 pop. You hear different, whistling sound. Excuse my poor attempt at sounding like I'm making firework noise, but a lot of times you'll hear that associated with the fireworks. But yeah, just call and report exactly what you hear. Let us come out and actually do the investigation, take a deeper dive, and hopefully we can locate the source, and at best, hopefully it's just fireworks.
Stuff like that, is that better on the non-emergency line, I'm assuming?
It depends. Yeah, usually those calls come in on a non-emergency line, but if it's something where you witness somebody or actually somebody shooting a gun, and yeah, dial 911. If you're unsure, the 691-7447 will get you directly into our dispatch center. And you can say, hey, I'm in my house. I was watching television. I heard, 5 pops. Sounded to me like gunshots. I'm not sure. And then, let us get the information and come out and see what's what.
I have a less serious question.
Sure.
Really less serious question. I've noticed, this has always been a pet peeve of mine, and I've noticed them on several stop signs recently, people tagging stop signs with stickers.
There's literally one right there.
Yeah. Who do we report? Should we just call it like DPW on that? Does it depend on if it's on like the service drive, should we call MDOT?
You can always call our DPW, and they can go out and take and inspect it. I mean, more times than not, even if it's MDOT's responsibility, if it's just a sticker or something, they'll go ahead and remove it and save themselves the headache of making a call in and waiting 2-3 weeks or a month or how long before somebody actually come out there and address it. So I would say, go ahead.
I've taken stickers off myself. Is that okay?
Sure.
Okay.
Absolutely.
We'll charge the city.
You're allowed to call it I am Don.
Well, that helped, but we were over by Concetta's house and we had to borrow her ladder to get up because it was an InfoWars sticker. We couldn't leave it there.
Oh, there's
Those
like
are the
two
worst ones.
marijuana shop dispensary things on the stop sign that's like right there at 9 and Meadowlark.
I've
we appreciate
it's the marijuana ones that I've noticed recently. That's another thing. That's kind of why I asked about public safety, because if they're like all from the same place, is that something we should report
I
potentially?
would.
I know you can't prove that a person did it, but it might be worthwhile calling them.
Yeah, it's probably a pretty good indicator, you know. Usually, if you got a bunch of them peppered, you know, in a particular area with a particular, you know, company on them or business, then at least we can go out and have maybe a chat or a conversation. Hopefully, they'll knock it off, or if we catch them in the act, then we'll deal with them.
Thank you.
That's a good question, Regina. I literally thought of it that same thing when I saw it earlier today. It was just like, what? Yeah. Anybody else? Questions, comments, concerns? Marion, you're muted.
When you're ready to move off this topic, I have a few announcements.
Sure. Let's do it.
First of all, the city offices are going to be open again June 14th, where you can actually go in person. But if you still prefer, I've loved putting my water bill in the Dropbox, just driving by. That will be an option. Library will be open June 14th, the same day, for grab and go or quick visits. After July 4th, with any luck, any COVID luck at all, they will return to full hours with no restrictions. Just great news. I went to the soft opening of the Dog and Pony Show Brewery on 11 Mile Road last night. And a lot of the staff was there. The librarian said that she's got a great idea. How about having a book club meeting there and calling it Books and Brew? So I thought, terrific. Sounds wonderful. I have a recommendation for this club. Everyone has water bill questions. And they want to know what's included on the bill besides water, like our garbage charges. Are Oak Park bills higher than surrounding cities? No, we're right in the middle. Every city thinks theirs are the highest, all the residents. What are the advantages of switching to monthly billing? Deputy Finance Director Jamin Winters gave, with Water Director Kevin Vanderwall, gave a great presentation to the North Oak Park Block Club with answers to all of these questions illustrated and more. They would be delighted to come and speak to East Oak Park Block Club. If you're looking for something to put on the agenda for next month, that would be a wonderful one. When can we swim? So I think we're all ready for fun in the sun. The pool opens Saturday, June 12th, the week from this Saturday. The hours are 1 to 5, Saturday and Sunday, 2 to 6, Tuesday and Thursday. And there's Friday is the day that it's open late. It opens from 1 to 8. There will be male only, female only, senior only, and teen only times, as well as general swim times. Rec on the road. The rec department is going to be coming to a park near you for fun in the parks, and there will be programs for everyone. My grandson particularly is looking forward to karate in the park, and there will be more information about that. Great news for dog owners. The dog park committee of the Recreation Commission still has a questionnaire out. If you have things that you'd like in a dog park and things that you wouldn't like, they would love your input. Trees have been planted. The park will have a fence, an interesting configuration, lights, and other amenities that will probably have a key card So you're like an official member. And you and your dog can probably play there next summer. Vaccines in Oak Park are still going on Wednesday morning. We started out with only Oak Park residents, but now anybody with an arm can get vaccines in the Oak Park Community Center on Wednesday morning from 9 to 12. They break an hour for lunch from 1 to 4. Our vaccine clinic is famous because Paula Pash at the Oakland Press wrote a whole article about it, and I'll give you a link in the mayor's message that's coming out. The mayor's message was delayed, not because I didn't write it, but because our communications director had a death in the family. So I wanted to give kudos to Director Cooper and his whole department. They were on television on Channel 7. That's on YouTube, and there'll be a link to that in the mayor's message also. 11 Mile is just booming. There will be 2 breweries starting where it was just industrial. And it seems like this is the year that everything is happening. This year, we will have 2 breweries. Dog and Pony Show is 1. 2 restaurants with a bar and casual menu, and 1 coffee shop. This is on 11 Mile Road so far. I think I told you that Primo's is going to reopen.
I think so. Yeah, they're hiring.
They're hiring. They're waiting. They're waiting to hire. They needed some information from the staff. As soon as I was called, Maroney called them the next morning at 7 o'clock with a list of what they had to do. So that should be done from the city side. And I think it's getting help because they've got the inside renovated. Down the road, they expect to take over the next 2 buildings and open it into sit-down dining. So that and the playground equipment is going in on 9 Mile Road sometime this year. It's been ordered already, but deliveries are slow and all of that. But we will have playground equipment on 9 Mile on that linear park. Everything that's happening seems to be exciting and happening now. It's just a great time to be in Oak Park. And thanks for your time. As always, you have my cell number. Feel free to call me.
Dawn, did you have a question? Dawn, you're muted.
I was trying to respond to Regina's message. Anyway, I'm wondering, Mayor, if there's a way to have adult only time at the pool, not just men or women, but I don't have kids and I would like, maybe we have like a cocktail hour on that 8 o'clock hour. Or, whatever, just something with just adults, no kids.
Right. You know what? Our rec department is so responsive and they respond to the requests of the community. So give a call.
We could have live music for, a local band or something. There could be some like nightly, 1 night a week.
I think that is a great idea and I'm all in. Call the rec department 691-7555. Lori Stasiak was on vacation for a while. I'm not sure if she's back, but discuss this cool plan with her. And I'm sure she and Mira Lee would love it. And if you get it arranged, invite me because I'm coming.
Pat, did you have a question? I see you raising your hand.
Yes. Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I have 2 questions for the mayor. One is, when is the rec center going to be open for the use of various groups that come in there. Like I belong to a Scrabble club that used to meet on Wednesday afternoon. Now, I don't know if Wednesday would be a good day now, but I'm wondering when we can start coming in there again for activity. And my other question is just out of curiosity, pure curiosity, whatever happened to that fancy restaurant that was supposed to open on 8 Mile? We never got any further.
Right. Is that probably 5 years ago? He came and did this phenomenal presentation at the city council meeting. And I can't wait. So what happened in 2014 is it flooded. Somehow when the basement flooded, it affected the electrical system, and whatever happened impacted the water. And when they let the water out into the backyard, they caused an environmental hazard. And then they had to apply for a federal grant to ameliorate the environmental hazard. And that's where we are right now. I'm with you. I wanted it to open yesterday, and I wanted to call for reservations. I wanted to have the South Oakland County Mayors Association meet there. So no one's more interested in having that open, but they say they are still opening. They're still moving ahead on it.
It was obviously a radio station. It was a transmitter equipment that was in the basement that had, when it flooded, the like chemicals from it leached out into the water and it contaminated the entire property.
Thank you for that. Yeah.
Cheryl had written a question here. I was just saying about the martial arts program at Best Park at 4:30 through the evening every 4:30 through the evening every weekday. I'm wondering why Best Park is being used instead of Shepherd Park, where there is more space. Seen families leave since so much of the park is taken up with these classes. I've noticed that class too myself, just being like, oh, what's happening there? Is that city affiliated, or is that just someone doing martial arts in the park? Does anyone know anything about it?
I don't know.
I know what you're talking about. Cheryl, yeah, go ahead. Like, unmute yourself.
Okay. Yes, I was talking to some neighbors about that, and we've seen a lot of people that would have come with their kids to play and they turn around and leave because so much of our park is taken up with these classes that are one after another. And someone said they called, I forget which department in the city, but they called a department and they were told that this person works for the city, that it's a recreation program and there's nothing to be done about it, and that's the way it is. And I'm just thinking, I mean, I've driven by Shepherd Park those times of days and there's not that much going on. There was a hula hoop class in between the library and City Hall, but the park itself, I saw there was plenty of space, and I'm just wondering why they chose to use Best Park instead of somewhere there's more parking, more space, more room to spread out.
Question.
Yeah.
Sounds like we need to have the recreation director come.
I mean, yeah, 5 minutes.
I don't know if they're citizens of Oak Park, but I actually used that space probably from last July all the way through last winter for my classes. And I think they only use it for like an hour. And to me, it's only a smaller space, and I don't believe it interferes with anybody else. And I think it's a good, healthy exercise. They're doing karate, and I encourage that. And I certainly wouldn't want to throw any hoops into their pathway. So I feel it's a very good thing they're doing that.
I'm not saying it's bad that they're doing karate. I'm just saying that this is a neighborhood park, you know, for all of us. And it's from what I don't know for sure if this is true or not, but I heard that these are from Ferndale, which technically this is Ferndale schools. So, I mean, it's kind of, but I think the park should still be for kids and families to play in the evening if they want to. And I think Shepherd Park is just so huge. There's so much space there. I don't see why We're not using Shepherd Park where there's tons of space for everybody. Here,
Well,
all spaces are
why
big.
don't you send that recommendation to Director Stasiak? And sometimes there might be an answer why it was scheduled for there. Can you deal with her directly?
Yeah, I can email her. Okay, thanks.
Pat, did you have any questions?
Yeah, I just wondered, I guess we got off the track and I was wondering about when the community center will be open for groups again.
I'm going to check that and get back to you. I asked some of the questions yesterday to put in the mayor's message, but I didn't ask about the groups.
Jessica wrote in here too, asking about to continue beautifying the city. Is there a chance they might extend and install the fencing behind the houses from Rosewood to Republic, just in continuation down 9 Mile? Is that part of the plan? So might install that beautiful fencing behind the houses
Rosewood
from Republic.
Republic.
That would be there too.
I wonder.
Like
if you if you would please email that one to me, I would pass it on.
If you go all the way to Republic, you're going through Ace Hardware, Little Caesars.
Unless they mean like the back of the property line?
Maybe.
Oh, no, I can see that right here.
Still here to answer.
Yes, I did mean the houses, because we're right on the alley. And it's just kind of tacky, and I know I need to get my fence replaced, but I was just kind of hoping to keep the continuation down there. If they had funding, maybe they could just go the extra 2 blocks, and then the whole 9 Mile would be continuous. It would be just a thought.
Slightly as a safety fence. 2 more blocks. So this is on 9 Mile Road?
No, not on 9 Mile, behind the houses that are on the alley.
Section.
So it's like Ace Hardware is right there, and the other side of it.
Right, they're back of their homes.
I think they would have,
Like I said,
I think they'd have to do that on both sides of the street. I don't know if that's even feasible.
Can we talk separately? Can
Yes.
you do that or text me?
I just wanted to add that the houses on the other side of 9 Mile, most of them that are on an alley have a brick wall. And we don't. I just wanted to ask to see if there would be any funding to continue it down. Just thought it would look better.
What I want is your address and phone number and all of that.
Okay.
My cell number is 248-217-1883. If you could give me all that information, I'm not picturing it. I can find out about who's in charge of the wall and.
Okay.
We're at
the rest of the neighbors on the block wanted me to ask.
Yeah, no, you know.
I mean, Jessica, I know what you're talking about. I can see it straight.
What my dad always said, keep asking. All they can say is no.
Doesn't hurt to ask.
Doesn't hurt to ask and check on it. Maybe it can be done.
We are at 8:34. I don't want to take up any more of anyone else's time unless people have more questions that are pressing or would like to ask anything to any of our guests.
Last thing, I think, in Lessinger Park, we planted 15 trees.
Where's Lessinger Park?
The Detroit Zoo paid for it.
Oh.
They're planting 2,000 trees on their campus, and they're also sponsoring trees planted elsewhere. It's 45 degrees cooler, up to 45 degrees cooler in the shade of a tree. And one tree soaks up 1,600 gallons of storm water. So I thought we all need to go hug a tree. And that's it. If you have any questions about anything, I'm on Facebook. You have my cell number. You can email me. The more specific you can get, address, phone number, that kind of stuff, then it's helpful. And thanks for just caring and always being out there. This is such a community block club. It's Amazing.
Thank you, Marion. Thank you, Dr. Cooper and Officer Benson and everyone for being here tonight. Again, it's been 6 months of crazy on Zoom, and hopefully in September we'll be back in person, maybe, hopefully, or outside or something. As always, if people have questions, comments, concerns, holler them at us. We're open to receiving what you have to put out there. Charlie and Regina both have their information in their chat if you need to get in touch with them. Questions about COVID or state relation or anything, please look at that. We have so many great resources here. We have a great community. This is our last meeting until September, so enjoy the next 2 months off without having to look at us ramble on about things. If I end up having an impromptu rat thing, I'll keep everyone posted, so you can come and watch a burrow maybe be destroyed.
Please have an impromptu rat thing. I want to come.
Right? Like I joked with Laura from the last meeting, just saying, "What does one serve? Rat-shaped cookies?" And she's like, "I think that's always a great idea." So I'll have to
Rat thing is a great idea. That was one reason I was hoping that fence would go up to keep them from coming in our backyard.
I don't know if a fence would do it, but
Well, it'd look better anyway. They'd look nicer walking by.
again, thank you all for coming tonight. And
Thank you.
have a great evening.
Thank you for leading us through the meeting, Jeffrey. Great job.
Thanks, Jeffrey.
And we'll get this up on YouTube at some point, hopefully within the next week. So if you want to rewatch it over and over again, you can.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good summer.
Bye.
Bye.
Hags,
Hags.
what is that?
Have a great summer from your yearbook.
Oh, I never knew that.
Oh yeah, it doesn't mean anything else. Have a great summer.
Yeah, I took it the wrong way, Charlie.
He's not calling you a hag.
I was like, where did that
I
come
did
from?
too.
I get it now. Thanks for informing me. I love it. Hags, everybody.
Hags.
Bye for now. All right, let me stop recording.